Hey guys, so in this video, in the last video in part 1, I made a mistake on the max, so let's fix it. So if you go to your calculator, go to y equals and type in that the equation was given for number 4, your max is found by going to second trace and setting your left and right bound. And you're going to get a very small number. On mine, it is showing up as 2.4 e negative 3 or negative 6. So that means it's very, very, very small. So this one would be 5 zeros with 2, 5 at the end. So that is very close to 0, so you can go ahead and count it as 0. So your max is found at 0.75. So you can go ahead and graph that on your graph. 0 means that moving none right to left and just going up 75, which is somewhere right in here. And then we're going to go to our table, so second graph, and getting some points around that 0.5 or 0.75. And we have on our table negative 159, our 0.75, and our 159. So to our negative 1 on our x-axis, up 59. To the right to our positive 1, up 59. And there is our graph. So looking at our questions for number 4, it says axis of symmetry. Well, whatever our x value of our max or our vertex is going to be the x value we put, which is 0. Our vertex, same thing as our max. It asks for x-intercept or intercepts. So we go back to our graph, go to 0, trace, and we're going to calculate our zeros. And they should be 2.17, 0, and our negative 2.17, 0. Then it asks for 2 other points. Well, when I graphed it, I had my other 2 points, those black points. So we have our negative 159 and our positive 159. I found those again by going to second graph to go to the table on the calculator. How long is the tool in the air? So we want to know how long it takes to hit the ground over here. And we found that when we found our x-intercepts, not dealing with our negative x values because our x values are our time, so we're only worried about our positive x values. So it took 2.17 seconds. For number 5, you're putting that into your calculator and you can look at it compared to your parent function, which is here, or you're looking at your transformations that you should know by now. Your negative out front tells you that it's going to be turning down or reflecting over x-axis. The 2, just the 2, ignoring the negative. The 2 is greater than 1, so it's going to be stretching. Remembering that narrow is the same thing as stretch, and wide is the same thing as compress. Then your positive 3 on the inside. Again, on the inside, you're scrunched up, mad at your parents, you're going to be disobedient. So affecting the x's affecting the x's left and right. Obedient or disobedient to it is positive, so we're going to be going to the left 3. Negative 4 on the outside, affecting the y's. For good little children, we're obedient to the sign. Affecting the y's is up and down. Negative is down. So that is how you're doing your transformations. If you're an honor student, make sure you know which one goes where. Number 6, a lot of you struggled with. Number 6, we have, and I'm going to come down here. So we have consecutive integers for the 3 family children. So our first kid, our first age, is going to be represented by x. Our second age is going to be represented by x plus 1. So let's say we started with age 2. Your consecutive integer, it would be the next number on the number line. That's why you're adding 1 to it. Your third age, you're going back to that variable that we used for the first one. And then you're having to add 2 to get to the third consecutive number, or age. So then we have in our problem the square of the age of the youngest child. So we have x squared is 4 more than 8 times the age of the oldest child. So 4 more than 8 times the oldest child. So we've got our x plus 2, and we've got to multiply it by 8 and add 4 to it. And that is what we're simplifying to find the ages, or find our x value. So we're going to distribute the 8 to the x and the 2. So then we get our x squared equals 8x plus 16 plus 4. And we're going to simplify one more time to x squared equals 8x plus 20. In these word problems, our goal is to get one side to equal 0. Then we can substitute y in, and then we can use our calculator instead of additional work. So we're going to move this positive x squared over. On the left side, it cancels out because it becomes 0, and that's what we want. On the right side, there is no other x squared to combine, or no other like terms with the x squared, so it just comes out front. And now we can put this in our calculator. Once we put it in our calculator, we're looking for our x-intercepts, our zeros, our roots, our solutions. When we do this, go to y equals, substitute it in or type it in. Now for our 0, our root, our solution, on the left side, we get -2. And on the right side, we get 10. Well, if you go back to how we set up our ages, if the first kid or the youngest kid is X years old, they cannot be -2 years old. So -2 is not a possibility, so our answer is 10. So our youngest kid is 10 years old. If we want to, we can substitute that 10 in. So our next age is 11. The next one we have 10 plus 2, which is 12. So those are our 3 ages. Again, if I'm going too fast, please pause it. You can email me, whatever you need to do. And then we go on to number 7. Number 7, the value of a Jennifer's stock portfolio is given by this function, where V is the value of the portfolio in hundreds of dollars and T is at the time in months. So key thing is that T, which you can substitute for X, is going to be your time in months, and then your Y, or your V of T, is going to be your money. How much money did Jennifer start with? When will the value of Jennifer's portfolio be at its max? So how much money to start? Go to your graph, clear it out. You're going to look for your y-intercept. The reason why you're looking for your y-intercept is because the time is at 0. So your x is going to be 0, your y is 50. So how much money she started with is $50. Your max value, well, if you go to your calculator and calculate your max on your graph, you have 12.16 with a 6 repeating, 494.08. So your max value is at $494.08. Number 8, you're asked how many units for minimum cost. So where C is the total cost in dollars and X is the number of units produced. So once you put this in, your minimum is at 16,736. So your cost was your Y values, remembering that your X is always your time. So you're at 736. So there are your answers for your assessment review. If you have any questions, please email me and I'll send you an individual video if I need to, or I will try to answer it through email. And there's the other parts.